So much, Brandy. And thank you to those of you who've been able to join us this morning. My name is Jill Cox, and I'm the director of Penn State Extension Better Kid Care. And I will tell you a little bit more about Better Kid Care in a little bit. My background is in nutrition, health, and wellness. And so prior to becoming the director at Better Kid Care, I did program development in that particular area. So I'm going to pass it off to Rebecca to introduce herself.
Hi there. I am Rebecca Escott, and I am one of the authors at Better Kid Care. I do a variety of things. Recently, I have been working on the recently launched health and safety courses, pre-service courses, but my love are things like process art and emergent curriculum and outdoor play. And so some of the courses in the repertoire in our offerings that I've written have to do with those things, finding wonder, curiosity. And my hope is that we have made you a little bit curious by asking you to bring some paper, and that you will walk away from this a little more energized.
All right. And so I appreciate you all responding to the poll as to whether you have an account with Better Kid Care or not. And we really want to make this time work for you all and to share with you the most relevant information that will help you in the work that you do. So I also just wanted to take a minute, because I'm on so many Head Start listservs, to just acknowledge what a difficult time this is, I think, for all of you, as there's so many things happening at the national level. And so just want to say a word of special appreciation for all the work that you do with some of our most vulnerable populations. One other thing I would ask you to do is, if you would just type into chat if there are specific topics of interest that you'd like to hear about today. In Rebecca's portion, she's going to be showing you some of our resources that are available through our on-demand system and our website. And so it will help her know how best to fine-tune her portion of the presentation. If you can share if there are really any specific things that you're interested in knowing more about. And I'm going to share my screen, but you all have the ability to unmute or to type into chat. If you have questions, please feel free to do that. I think we can be informal today. We're such a small group that I'd really like this to be more of a conversation. So let me just pull up I have just a couple of slides to share with you. For those of you who may not be familiar with Better Kid Care, this is our mission statement, and we are very much focused on providing for professional development for early care and education professionals, as well as out-of-school time providers. But really, anyone who is interested in improving quality of care for children can access the courses and resources in our system just by setting up a free account. Currently, we have more than 320 on-demand courses on every topic related to early childhood development. Most of those courses are 2 hours in length, but all of the content, including the video learning and the downloadable handouts, are available at no cost. And you're welcome to go in and check things out. If a certificate of completion is needed to report to your state registry, or you need proof of attending the PD activity, there is typically a nominal fee of $5 for a certificate of completion. So we purposely keep it at a very affordable level, and we're able to do that because of the many partnerships and sponsorships that we have. CEUs are available upon request from Penn State University, as are Act 48 credit hours. So those are other things that you can request. Most of our courses are accepted for CDA, formal education hours. If you have staff or others who are working on their CDA. You may have heard of us because of our CCDBG required health and safety training that is, we have developed for Pennsylvania, and it's required to complete in order to become a licensed child care program in Pennsylvania. We also do that work for Virginia and Vermont, and there are several other states that come into our system and have their child care professionals complete that training as well. We're approved for professional development credit in most states and the District of Columbia. And since we launched On Demand in 2011, we've now had more than 845,000 learners who've accessed our system from all 50 states and 69 countries. So it's been exciting to be a part of that growth. And you can see more than almost 3.5 million courses have been completed in our system. Something that might be of interest to you, and I think Rebecca will share a little bit more about in her portion, is there are prepayment codes available. So I know a lot of directors or administrators like that feature because they can pay up front for completions for their staff. And those prepayment codes can be tailored to a specific course, or it can be left as flexible depending on what the needs are of the program. We do ask for some information from our learners so that we have a better understanding of who is coming into our system, and we can really focus and tailor our courses to meet those specific needs. So you can see that the majority who come into our system are from center-based programs. Then we have some from public pre-K and school-aged, and a smaller portion from home-based. We do ask the question if participants are involved in Head Start, and we know that we have more than 33,000 learners who are from the Head Start community who access courses in our system. You can see on the education side that the majority of our learners have a high school diploma or GED equivalent. So a lot of our courses are really tailored towards that educational level. We have over the years also included more advanced content because we realize that there are individuals who are, at a higher degree level coming into our system as well. I mentioned we have lots of partners, and this is just a sampling of some of the organizations that we have worked with. We're very thankful for these partnerships because it really adds to the quality of professional development that we're able to deliver. Most of these organizations have missions and visions that align very similarly to Better Kid Care. I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to share with you very briefly about some work that we did specifically with Pennsylvania Head Start teachers a number of years ago. And some of you may have heard about this project. It was the Create Healthy Futures, and was a wellness project focused on educator well-being, or the teacher well-being specifically. This project was done in collaboration with researchers from the University of Texas School of Public Health and with funding from the Vitamix Foundation. And so it involved a 4-hour online course in our system, as well as 6 weekly discussion groups that were led by a wellness facilitator. And again, some of you may have participated in that. And you can see the topics that were specifically covered in that course. It really focused on the healthy eating of the Head Start teachers so that they could be better prepared to be strong role models for children in their care in that capacity. So there were 3 main takeaways from that particular part of the program, excuse me, that it emphasized the importance of introducing fresh vegetables and fruits, and provided lots of strategies and ideas for how to do that. People really seem to appreciate knowing more about cooking opportunities with children and giving ideas for families to do with children at home. And then the idea of educating and leading by example, which I had already mentioned. And Finally, I just wanted to share with you one of the really big findings that came out of this part of the study was the fact that Pennsylvania Head Start teachers reported a sense of food insecurity that was 3 times the national average, which was very eye-opening to us and to the researchers. And it led to the next phase of the project in which we brought in a food access piece, and that part of the project was conducted with teachers in the Houston Public School District. What we found as part of that project was the importance of really supporting the mental health and well-being of teachers. And that's led to several new courses in our system, including one addressing food security in early care and education settings, and several that focus on the mental health and well-being. One of which that comes to mind is CHIME. It's cultivating healthy, intentional, mindful educators. And so perhaps Rebecca will include more examples from that. And so with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and hand it off to Rebecca.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate just seeing the people who are behind the names. I also want to say thank you to you all. I would say personally benefiting from a Head Start program that's in the Allentown area. I work for Better Kid Care. I work remotely from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and a group of families that I have committed to are helping an Afghan family who came to the United States after 17 years in a refugee camp. And they came to the United States in November, and we've been able to help them. And we're celebrating that just about maybe a month ago, their 4-year-old was able to be have a seat open up in the Head Start programming that's, a walkable distance from their home in Allentown. And we're excited about the kind of care and experiences and support she's getting in that school. So I'm going to do the big risk and unblur my background so that you can see me. I'd like you all to get your piece of paper if you brought a piece of paper with you, and we're gonna do an activity together. And if I were in a workshop in a group and could provide you with materials, I would probably be working with an 11 by 17 piece of paper, but I figure most of you will probably have an 8.5 by 11. And so we're going to do this together. So if you have your piece of paper and you're holding it landscape wise, I want you to fold it in half from side to side. And I'm going to wait for Janet, because I can tell she's getting a piece of paper. You can do it with any size paper, but you can do it with a piece of junk mail if you want. All right, so then once you have the piece of paper folded in half side to side, open it back up and take the edges in and have them meet at the center and fold it again. So you're going to take the side in to the center fold and crease it on both sides. This will end up giving you something, I don't know if it's technically correct, but something that looks like, I say French doors, so you have the 2 sides coming in to meet at the center. Is everybody at that point? Give me a little nod. Okay. Wait, yep, perfect. All right, and then we're going to open it back up, and you should have 4 vertical cells or sections. And then what we're going to do from there is to take the top to the bottom and do a fold that runs the whole way across. So now you'll have 8 sections. Your paper should be in 8 sections. Are we at that point? All right. Then we're going to refold it in the center, like that original crease. So that if you pinched it, it would almost look like, you know, almost like the beginning of a paper airplane. And once you get to that, hold that up so I know that we're all together, because this is the part that feels kind of magical, but also is a little tricky. All right. So now take your pair of scissors. You're pinching the paper at the bottom fold, and there should be a crease kind of running up the center by your fingers. And we're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut up from the fold up one set of blocks, not the whole way to the edge, but one set of blocks, so that it looks like this with the cut. I turned it so that so now the fold is at the top. The fold's at the top and there's a cut that goes halfway. Yep, good. Now pinch on the fold on each side of the cut. And you're going to twist your hands kind of away, separating. Yep, Brandy, you got it. Until they come down like this. Can you do that? All right, and then you just kind of flatten it like that. And you will have had a little 8-page, little tiny sketchbook. Some people, like if you would Google this, some people call this a concertina sketchbook. Concertina is like a little accordion, like almost like a hand accordion. And there are lots of different ways of doing it, but this is one. And if you had done it with an 11 by 17, you would get a piece that's about this big. This is, to me, a perfect size. All right, I'm watching you, Stacy. Did you get it? Did you make it work? Okay. All right, because I was like, wait, did it come apart? I don't want it to come apart on you. Okay, but so this is what it would look like. So it's about the size of a hand. If you do 11 by 17, I think these are great to stick in for field trips, to take outside to the playground for sketching, to it's easy to stick in a purse if you want to just do something. And for the purposes of today, I'm inviting you to write down some observations, write down questions as I do the rest of this little piece, and use it for note-taking. But one of the biggest reasons that I picked this to do is, when Jill asked me to come, she asked me to share thoughts about how you all can maximize Better Kid Care resources for, the work and professional development that you do. And one of the biggest things we want to say is there's so many resources that are in our courses that can be used for other things. So this particular handout is in the Nature Sketching Builds Observation Skills course. So that course uses the foundation of nature sketching as a way to build people's observation skills so that they can be better observers of children, of environments, of circumstances. But this particular handout is in there. So anybody could go into the nature sketching course, download this particular handout, and use it for whatever purposes they want. There's lots of different reasons that you might want to use that resource. And what I'll do for you is I'll copy that link.
Rebecca, I already put it in chat for you.
Oh, okay. All right, wonderful. And then one other thing that I will do before we get started with actually showing you the website is many people know us for health and safety things. And so we created a handout. It was primarily for PA Key quality coaches and OCDEL, ELRC staff, but the pre-service health and safety courses that launched in January for new employees in any centers or family, it's 6 hours of resources. And this particular Word document that I just put in chat, those have some links that might be helpful to you. There's a handout there about behavior. There's a the hand washing poster. There's a diapering handout. There are a variety of things. And that, again, it's just a reminder that people usually know us and want to know us for professional development credit hours, but there are other ways for us to be helpful to you all. And that resource is just kind of a little, it's almost like a cheat sheet or a shortcut to the kinds of resources that are in that. So with that, I'm going to share with you kind of a tour of our website, and then also a quick look at the on-demand. So this is what our website homepage looks like. And often people don't come here. I think a lot of times they go directly to on-demand and they go directly to our on-demand system. But I wanted to show you resources that are here, particularly looking at this sidebar that's on the right-hand side. And you'll notice that, first of all, there's a tab for Spanish. If a person speaks Spanish, that takes you to a portion of our website that highlights Spanish resources. There are content core knowledge areas that have fact sheets, tip sheets, courses on each of the areas that NAEYC requires learning about. And then there's a CDA tab. And as you scroll down, for you all, I wanted to highlight 2 different tabs, a coaching resources tab. Some of you might have reflective supervision or coaching responsibilities. And in that tab, it highlights courses that equip coaches, that help you do coaching better, and also some coaching guides. And then the directors tab. And we're going to actually look at the directors tab. I just want to make sure, Jill, did my screen change so that you're seeing the directors tab now?
Yes, we can see it. And Rebecca, I just wanted to make sure that you saw the topics that were dropped into chat.
I did.
Okay, good.
I did. I'm going to use that, I think, when we get to on demand, if I can. So this section was actually redone pretty recently to try to make it more useful for program administrators, not just directors, but people who are in a supervisory role or in kind of an overarching role within their systems. And we have within this section on-demand education for directors. And we've curated some courses for directors, just to say, we're saying many times we want to get up beyond the health and safety to other things. So here you'll see coaching through questions, developing an emergency plan. That is one that's actually being redone this year, so that there's some for center and some for family childcare. Healthy leaders, healthy programs. This onboarding for educator success and retention is a pretty new course. It came out this past year. It is designed for the person within an organization who is responsible for onboarding others. So it's not a course that the new employee would take. It's a course for the person who's overseeing that new employee, that to help them do that well. And then you'll see some social emotional learning courses that are there. We did take time to highlight some administrative courses for out of school time folks. And then this section lists courses that we have that are not necessarily earmarked just for directors or just for program administrators, but we feel would help with improved program quality, which is part of the invite that we came for, like how to improve program quality through maximizing Better Kid Care resources. And you'll see that there's a lot there to notice. And I just want you to be aware of that. And you'll also see that there are some courses in Spanish. We actually have, I think it's more than 40 courses, almost 60 courses in our on-demand system that are available in Spanish. So let's go back to the home screen and that sidebar. Just one other thing I wanted to show you as we scroll down on that home page. And it's this newsletter thing. So we are active on social media. And if you are not receiving our newsletters, that's probably the most important way for you to stay in touch with us. And if you clicked on this link, it would take you to a form. Maybe I can just go ahead and do that, where you could select the kinds of communication you'd want. And, you know, Octal does the same thing. The Key does the same thing. We have a monthly e-news that we send out. We have a special newsletter for people involved with CDA. If you only wanted to hear about new courses that were launched, you could simply select that one. Spanish course announcements, or this is other important things like in April, we're going to probably offer a free course for Week of the Young Child, and maybe that announcement would go out as a separate announcement. So those are things that we think will help you keep in touch with us, and then will help you kind of do a better job with guiding staff towards quality development. The biggest product that we have is on-demand courses, and you can get to the on-demand courses through this tab on the home page. And I'm just scrolling real quickly to show you, there's a full list of our courses here. There's a frequently asked questions place, and there's a getting started. So for those of you who said you didn't have an account, you could go here and it would explain those things to you. I think for the benefit of time right now, we won't do that because I know more than half of you did have that. So this takes you to a sign-in page. I'm going to sign in kind of quickly and then give you an overview of this, kind of the starter page within On Demand, because there's so many features here that people perhaps don't know about. Whenever you sign into On Demand, it's going to come up with your name here. And if you click under that, there's an opportunity here for course prepayment. So Jill talked to you about this a little bit. This is one of the things that directors and admins, financial offices love, because sometimes you have a chunk of money earmarked for professional development, and it's easier perhaps to buy courses in bulk or to buy learning experiences in bulk. And so you can do that through our on-demand system. And then this tab allows you kind of to track that. So these are prepayment codes that I've had because I've organized some coaching courses and things. And you are able to request a report for how many of them have been used. You're able to get a receipt. You're able to reload. If you have a current prepayment code, you're able to reload those things. And you can see how staff are using that resource. All right, the next thing I want to do is just show you across the top, you'll see that there's a course list, in progress courses, and my completed courses. Under my completed courses, you have an opportunity to request a certificate. So sometimes staff will say, I don't remember if I did that one or not. You can go in there and you can see which ones you've created. You can request an email of the transcripts. See this email transcript of my completed courses. You can request within like an individual one. You could ask them to email you a certificate. So there's lots of resources there for you. Let me show you one more thing, and then maybe we can just use your examples to look for some things. So this is important, this search feature. You can search by a keyword, you can search by filters. And one of the things that sometimes people like to do is to look for new releases. And so if I put in the filter for new releases, will be able to see for Pennsylvania. And again, just a reminder, if you talk with people who are involved in programs in other states, you will they would see the courses that are approved in their state. So Head Start programs and all across the United States can come to our on-demand system and experience and access resources as you are doing. So there's a children's grief, loss, and healing course there. They're the 4 pre-launches for health and safety. Of course, reclaiming your well-being, that's for the educator. And here's a course that I think maybe was inspired kind of by the Head Start research, supporting food security in your community. So those are relatively new ones. We're going to go back. We're going to take off that filter. And then we're just going to try. So I think a couple of you said something about vaccinations and vaccines. And I'm going to try a search just with the word vaccine in it and see what happens in our on-demand system. So when we put in that course, that topic, we come up with 2. Let me talk you through these 2 that are here, and then I want to highlight a different one. Supporting the child vaccination decision process is a course that was created several years ago and would be very helpful, I believe, for teams who are trying to carefully, compassionately talk to families about requirements that programs may have around vaccines. And it does talk about how vaccines work. It has a video in it about if vaccines cause autism. A variety of things are there. So that would be one course that you might want to check out. This workshop strategies to support child immunizations is a pretty new one. It is actually designed for, it's a train the trainer course that's designed for trainers or people who are community educators. It is equipping you to be a workshop facilitator talking about the complicated topic of child vaccines. So that is not necessarily designed for like a classroom teacher or a parent to take. It's designed to help a trainer conduct a community workshop. There's also another one that I'm aware of just because I was involved with writing it, called Talk and Think About Health Policies and Practices. And that would be an excellent one to work through if you and your staff wanted to think about how we approach any health policy. It could be outdoor play. It could be kids being sent home with fevers, whatever the policy is, that Talk and Think About Health Policies and Practices could be a good course. Does anybody else want to unmute and just suggest a topic or a word, and we can put it in and kind of see some of the options for courses that might meet that? Is there anything else on your mind?
Like the activity with the outside nature concept.
Okay. All right, let's just put nature. All right, so if I put nature in as a word search, I get these 4. Adventurous play, the whys and hows, which is kind of a course about very active, you might want to say risky play, big body play. And there is a companion one for school age called Adventurous Programming and Out of School Time, the whys and hows. Exciting backyard science activities, get outdoors, explore, and nature sketching builds strong observation skills. Now, we know there's bigger ones than that, but this would get you started. So I just want to stop at this point. We're getting close to the end of my time, and I wanted to just say that we love and we want to support people who are doing hybrid learning. So we have worked pretty hard to design our courses more and more and more, because we know that people sometimes see Better Kid Care as the quick out to just like click through a course and get their, time or whatever. And so we've made design changes. Jill has really led in a lot of that, to have some timers, to have reflection screens, to require people to actually put more than a few characters in a response window, to try to make people take professional development seriously. But we know we can't force them to take it seriously. And one of the things that helps them know that it's a value is if there's some interaction on the other side, a supervisor, a colleague, site director, mentor who asks them about their professional development. And so in each of our courses, I would say in almost all our courses, there's something called a take back form. I'm just showing you it here. It's usually in the first couple pages of a course, but people are asked to complete this when they complete a Better Kid Care course. And it's just saying, what are things you want to share? What are aha moments? What are keeper ideas? What is energizing you? And it's a fillable form. So if you know that a staff person has taken one of our courses, ask them, ooh, what did you put on your take back form? Or almost all our courses also have an action plan at the end. So the simplest thing is to do something like that. We do in some of our courses have director's notes, and those are, again, almost like the health and safety resources, a document at the beginning of our course that says, hey, if you're a director, for instance, in the emergent curriculum one, there's a director's note. If you're a director, you might support your staff by, and then it gives you some suggestions. It also gives you the handouts. So if you wanted to go in, I'm not sure if the Adventurous Play one does this or not, but you could go into a course at the beginning of the course and look for a director's note and say, oh, this is kind of my quick look at the course. Some of our courses have director's guides. I know that I think the course, Jill, that you were talking about had a director's guide that would allow people to take a little bit of the course and then get together and discuss it, have some accountability. The anti-racism courses are set up that way. There's a companion guide. I think the Prioritizing Educator Wellbeing through COVID has a companion guide that accesses and helps you to say, okay, let's do this chunk as a team, and then we're going to talk about it, and you can request things that way. I did create, I'm going to stop sharing now. I did create just a quick list of some favorite handouts, and maybe I'll see if Jill, I'll put these in, and then I would just like to take a little bit of time, and if you would want to ask questions, and if not, then I can show you these couple handouts that are in courses that I thought you might find helpful. But I want to make sure that we answer your questions and explore with you the kinds of things that you were hoping maybe to get out of the time. Who wants to start with a question? Maybe something that they jotted down on their little sketch notebook.
We appreciate these dental resources. Thank you.
Sure.
You're welcome.
I'll show you. Was somebody else going to talk?
Just gonna say, I think that talking point sheet is really intentional. We've tried to start doing those types of things at Pennsylvania Head Start Association, because it is easy, right? We have a lot of things to do. Our caseloads are very chaotic. So creating that sheet, I think, just is a welcoming environment of, hey, you're spending your time here anyway. What can you really take from this? So I appreciate that initiative as well.
Yeah. let me go ahead and show you, because it might be helpful just to see what I was describing. We'll go back to the on-demand screen, and I'll take off the filters. Let me just, if you don't have any filters on, the courses are alphabetized, and I'm gonna freak your eyes out for a second. Find, Fun, and Meet Standards in Emergent Curriculum is a course that I'm more familiar with. And I was just going to say, so when you start, every course starts with a course description and information. And in this case, right at the beginning, there's a director's note. So you would click on that, and that would open up like this little summary sheet. These are not in every course, but they're in a fair number of them. So you have the objectives, and it says here you can do this course. The learner is supposed to do a self-reflection, and they're supposed to do some child observations from their own learning standards. And then all these links take you to handouts that could be helpful. And sometimes what we found is that people could take one of these handouts, like say this children's interest inventory, and do a staff work around that. Now, for Head Start, that might not be particularly helpful because you have your own tools, but you never know what those things would be helpful. And then you click to the next page. There's the take back form. So these little links that are kind of at the bottom of the screen can be really helpful. We do encourage people to download handouts, but one of the things that might be helpful that people love is to use videos. Now, I know it seems like we don't have many people on here, so maybe this isn't as good a use of the time, but if you would want to talk about a video with your staff, what you would do is you would have to sign into the course and then go to on demand to the particular screen that the video's on and play it in on demand. We really want to respect the permissions that people have given us to show their children, to film staff. And so we think if you're going to use a Better Kid Care video, it's important to go into our system and play it in our system and use it that way. But it is an option. You know, if you've discovered a resource in one of the courses that you think is particularly helpful, by all means, go into the course, use a projector within your staff training room and play that, and then use that as a point of discussion and a point of training. So we encourage that. We encourage people to be creative about using the things that we have designed in multiple ways. Let me just pause there and see if there are any other questions. And if not, I'll give you a quick glance at these couple resources that I don't know, that I love, that I think might be helpful and kind of raise your awareness. Any other questions?
So Janet, I just wanted to point out that I put a link in the chat to our COVID resource page. Some of those resources have been there a while, so maybe more relevant to when we were, coming out of the pandemic. But if you're looking for something specific, more than likely you'll find it there on topics related to COVID.
And there's one really good video by Dr. Shope that's there that talks about how the shots for COVID and flu are designed a little differently, and that's there on the website. You can play that for anyone or any audience. If you're helping a family trying to make a decision, and it's lovely. It talks about RSV and that vaccination, and it talks about just the dramatic numbers of children that could be saved if people chose the vaccines for COVID and flu. And I think that might be helpful. He speaks very plainly, but like kind of kindly about that situation. Any questions? You want to take a look at these last couple things? We have just a couple minutes. Are you willing for that? Okay. So this is a handout on art that is used in a couple different courses. We put it in our STEAM courses. We've used it. It's going to be in a process art course that's coming out, but it's been in a lot of our courses, and we love it. And part of the reason that I like it is for the second page. So we know that art's in almost every curriculum, everyday experience that children do. And this just gives some ideas of ways to change it up. So instead of always doing the same old thing, you might try different papers, you might try different adaptations or variations on paint, you might try different painting tools. So that one is in a lot of our courses, and I can put the link to that. I think I did put the link to that in there. This is a real quick handout that's in some of our courses on the value of books and how books can be windows and mirrors and sliding glass doors. So ways that books can open a child's world. And again, this might make sense on, I don't know, if you have the Dr. Seuss 100 Days and the reading thing, this could be a good, quick handout that you could send home with families, or you could use as an opportunity to do some self-evaluations. So this page 3 says, do a quick book check within the shelves in your classroom. So that could be a resource. A colleague of mine that has spent a lot of time in the classroom had us create this First Then handout that helps with transitions, and it's designed to be pictorial so that you would put a picture of an activity in first, and then a picture of a second activity in then. And we've supplied some of the choices. First, wash your hands, then you eat. First, play outside, then you wash your hands, so you can do a variety of organizations with that. But then you notice how this is personalized. So you can put in your own pictures here if there's something that you need. And the last one that I was going to show you is a tool from our restorative practices course. And again, this is just a little tool. And if you see here, there are concepts in the course that were shared, but this tool right here on the right-hand side, it's designed to be printed and cut and put in your little, like your lanyard. If you have like supervision cards or something that you might wear on a lanyard, or if you want to put it in on index cards and kind of keep it in your pocket. These are reminders of the questions that a staff person would ask if they are trying to kind of practice this restorative conversation, this restorative language in their classroom. We know that it takes practice. People can't just like read it one time and go like, oh, I'm an expert, I can do this. They need reminders and they need tools. And we've worked really hard to put tools into the courses. And my hope is that in this time that we've spent together, and for those who will watch the recording, that you'll open your mind up to, oh, there might be a tool in a Better Kid Care course that could help me with this. So those are my thoughts, some things, kind of the quick 30-second tour, 30-minute tour of Better Kid Care resources and how they can maximize your impact for program quality.
Thank you so much. I feel like there are so many resources, actually 320 of them, that programs can really utilize. So I'm hopeful that this group and those who watch the recording are really able to take this away and even jump into one of those trainings and see what they can do with it on their program level. So I am so appreciative of your time.
Yeah, and we aren't always accessible, but feel free to ask us if you're looking for something specific. we know those 300 courses better than the average person. And we might be able to say, like when they said people wanted stuff about vaccines and vaccination, the search would come up with those too. But I think the talk and think about health policies and practices is an additional one that we would know about, So there are lots of different ways, and there's something new every month or two. A new course comes out from Better Kid Care, and so we continue to bring new things to the field.
Absolutely.
Well, Brandy, thanks so much for having us. And one thing I forgot to mention is that we also have a 1-800 number. So that is staffed during the weekdays from 8 to 5 with a little break in between for lunch between 12:30 and 1:30, I believe. But, if people are having technical difficulties or a question about a certificate or anything like that, there are actually people that you can talk to. It's not an automated system. So I think that's an important thing for people to be aware of as well. So, and also, like Rebecca said, I would just encourage you to reach out. There's a general email address on our website, but feel free to get in touch with Rebecca or me with any specific questions.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you so much, ladies. And I will send out an email with all this information with the recording. Is it okay if I include your email on that?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, everyone.
All right.